Watch a child play. They don't wonder if they're playing correctly. They don't pause to assess whether they're maximizing their play experience. They don't worry that other children are playing better. They just play. Now watch an adult live. They're checking boxes, meeting expectations, optimizing outcomes, avoiding judgment, managing perception, and somewhere between childhood and now, you forgot. Life isn't a problem to solve. It's a reality to inhabit. And you've been solving when you should have been dancing. Before we go any further, if that just hit you differently than anything you've heard in a while, I want you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a like on this video. And in the comments, tell me one area of your life where you know you're taking yourself way too seriously. Just name it. One thing. Because sometimes the first step to freedom is just admitting where you're imprisoned. I read every comment, and your honesty helps more people than you know. Now let me tell you what's really happening in your life right now. And I need you to be honest with yourself as I say this. You wake up every single day carrying an invisible weight that has absolutely nothing to do with your actual circumstances. You could have everything going right, decent job, good health, people who love you, a roof over your head, and still feel this constant low-grade anxiety humming underneath everything. This sense that you're not doing enough, not being enough, not getting it right. You scroll through Instagram and see people who seem lighter than you, more carefree, more alive, and you think, what's wrong with me? Why does everything feel so heavy? Why can't I just relax and enjoy my life? And here's the trap you're in, the one that nobody talks about. You've been taught that taking life seriously is the price of admission to being a responsible adult. That worry is just being realistic about the future. That anxiety means you're planning ahead. That constantly second-guessing yourself is just being thoughtful. That treating every single decision like it has cosmic significance makes you a mature person. You've confused weight with worth. You've confused heaviness with depth. You've confused seriousness with actually giving a damn. But here's what I need you to understand, and this is going to sound backwards at first. Taking life seriously and taking yourself seriously are two completely different things. Life is serious. It contains real loss, real consequences, real pain. But you're not the center of that seriousness. You're not the axis around which cosmic judgment revolves. You're a temporary consciousness briefly inhabiting a temporary body on a temporary planet in a universe that will not remember your name. And the weight you're carrying right now, the performance anxiety, the desperate need to get it all right, the fear that you're somehow failing at existence, that's not wisdom. That's ego dressed up as responsibility. Let me tell you a story that's going to illustrate exactly what I mean. There was a man I knew, successful by every American measure. He built a career in finance, climbed every ladder they told him to climb, made his parents proud, put 3 kids through college, had the house in the suburbs, the 401k, the respect of his peers. He did everything right. And on his deathbed, at 73 years old, his daughter was sitting with him, and she asked him a question. She said, "Dad, if you could go back, what would you do differently?" And he looked at her with these eyes that were so tired, so full of something she couldn't quite name. And he said something that haunted her for the rest of her life. He said, "I would have treated it like a game, not in the sense of not caring, but in the sense of playing. I spent so much time trying to win at life that I never just lived it. I forgot it was supposed to be fun, not meaningful, not important. Fun." He turned his entire existence into an assignment he was terrified of failing. And he succeeded at everything except the one thing that actually mattered, enjoying it, being present for it, dancing through it instead of trudging through it like it was some kind of endurance test he had to pass. And I see you doing the same thing. You're living your entire life as if someone is watching and taking notes. And this isn't paranoia. This is the structure of modern American consciousness. You've internalized a judge that was never appointed. Every choice becomes a referendum on your worth. Every mistake becomes evidence in a trial you didn't know you were on trial for. You walk into a coffee shop and order a drink, and you replay the interaction for 3 days because you think you sounded awkward. You send a text message and revise it 14 times because every word feels like it's saying something permanent about who you are. You change your outfit 7 times before leaving the house because you believe your clothes are making some kind of statement that people will judge you for. You're living like every second is being recorded for a highlight reel that no one will ever actually watch. And it's exhausting. Of course it's exhausting. You're performing a role you never auditioned for, and the performance never ends. Here's what's really happening. You believe you're in a cosmic job interview that never ends. Every decision is scrutinized. Every mistake is evidence against you. Every moment of joy feels somehow irresponsible, like you're not trying hard enough. You've turned existence itself into a performance, and you don't even know who the audience is. Is it your parents? Is it your coworkers? Is it some abstract version of society? Is it God? Is it just the voice in your own head that sounds like all of those things combined? And this shows up in 3 specific ways. First, there's what I call temporal seriousness. You treat every single moment like it's permanently defining you. That awkward thing you said at the party last weekend, you're still thinking about it. That email you sent that maybe came off wrong, it's keeping you up at night. You're living like every second is a tattoo on your permanent record, when the truth is most people forgot about that moment 5 minutes after it happened. They're too busy worrying about their own moments. Then there's social seriousness. You've decided that other people's opinions about you constitute reality. So you shape entire days around hypothetical judgments. You perform versions of yourself that you think are acceptable. You've confused being seen with being known. And the exhaustion of constant impression management is eating you alive. You can't relax at the family Thanksgiving dinner because you're monitoring how you're being perceived. You can't enjoy the work happy hour because you're trying to project the right amount of professional friendliness. You're never just present. You're always performing presence. And finally, there's existential seriousness. You treat your individual story as if it's cosmically significant. You think the universe cares whether you succeed or fail. You've made your achievements the measure of whether you deserve to exist. You're living like you're trying to prove you have a right to be here, and that desperation to matter, that crushing weight of needing to be important, it's suffocating everything that could be light and spontaneous and joyful about being alive. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is the part most people miss. You can't just decide to stop taking yourself seriously. You've tried that, haven't you? You've told yourself to relax, to let go, to not care so much. And it doesn't work, because there's something underneath the seriousness that you haven't looked at yet. Something you're protecting by staying heavy. And until we name it, you'll keep picking that weight back up without understanding why. So let me name it for you. Your seriousness isn't a flaw. It's not a character defect. It's a defense mechanism. You're not heavy because you're broken. You're heavy because you're afraid. And the fear isn't what you think it is. You think you're afraid of failure, of judgment, of not being enough. But that's not the deep fear. The deep fear is this. If you stop taking yourself seriously, you'll discover you were never actually important. That the significance you've been trying to prove, the cosmic importance you've been scrambling to establish, was never real. That you could disappear tomorrow and the universe wouldn't even notice. That's the terror underneath all the striving, all the self-monitoring, all the desperate attempts to matter. And here's the thing I need you to hear. You're right. You're not important. Not in the way you've been trying to be. Your individual story is not the center of reality. 1,000 years from now, no one will remember your name. Your achievements will be forgotten. Your failures will be irrelevant. The universe will go on spinning exactly the same whether you succeed or fail at any of the things keeping you up at night. And this is not a tragedy. This is liberation. Because the thing you're trying to protect, your cosmic significance, is the very thing that's imprisoning you. What if your life doesn't need to matter in the grand scheme of things in order to be worth living? What if the meaning isn't in leaving some kind of permanent mark on history, but in the direct experience of being conscious right now? Of feeling things, of loving people, of witnessing this weird, temporary, completely unrepeatable miracle of existence? Think about music for a second. When you listen to a beautiful song, you don't think this needs to last forever to be valuable. You don't think this melody has to be more important than all other melodies or it's meaningless. You just let it move through you. You experience it. You feel it. And when it ends, that doesn't retroactively erase its beauty. Your life is music. It doesn't need to be permanent to be profound. It doesn't need to be remembered to be real. Let me give you another example that I think will resonate. There was a woman, a photographer, who spent 15 years building her career, and she took it so seriously that she stopped enjoying it. Every single photo shoot became pressure. Every image she captured was judged against her sense of self-worth. Is this good enough? Will people respect this? Does this prove I'm talented? She was so focused on maturing as a photographer that she forgot to actually see anything. Then her professional camera broke during a family vacation in Yosemite. She didn't have time to get it fixed before the trip, so she had to use her iPhone. No professional equipment, no control over lighting, no ability to manipulate settings the way she'd been trained. Just moments, just light, just her family being themselves in this beautiful place. And she took the best photos of her entire life. Not technically, not professionally, but the most alive, the most real, because she wasn't trying to matter. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She was just seeing. She was just there. And that's when she realized the seriousness had been killing the thing she loved. The weight she thought was professionalism was actually fear pretending to be dedication. This is what happens when you take yourself too seriously. You make better decisions when you're not paralyzed by the fear of being wrong. You connect more deeply with people when you're not performing adequacy. You create more authentically when you're not trying to prove something. You love more freely when your worth isn't on trial every single moment. So how do you actually live this? Because I can hear you thinking, okay, this sounds nice philosophically, but I still have a mortgage. I still have a boss who evaluates me. I still have people depending on me. I can't just float through life like nothing matters. And you're right. This is not about becoming careless. This is not about abandoning responsibility. This is about something I call sacred playfulness. The ability to engage your life fully, to take things seriously when they genuinely call for seriousness, but never to take yourself so seriously that you can't laugh, can't pivot, can't admit you were wrong, can't fail beautifully, can't course correct, can't dance. Here's the distinction that changes everything. Your life contains real things, people you love, work that matters to you, responsibilities that are genuine. Those things deserve your attention and care. But your self-concept, that running narrative about whether you're good enough, whether you're doing it right, whether people approve of you, whether you're winning or losing at existence. That's a story, and you can hold a story lightly. Take your life seriously. Hold your self-concept lightly. That's the key. When your kid has a problem, take it seriously. When your friend needs you, show up seriously. When your work requires focus, get it focus. But when you make a mistake, when you embarrass yourself, when someone judges you, when something doesn't go according to plan, hold that lightly. Narrate it like a blooper reel, not like a tragedy. Well, that didn't work. Okay, what's next? Instead of, I'm fundamentally flawed, and this proves I'll never be enough. There's this concept that I think Americans in particular struggle with because we're taught from childhood that we're all special, that we all have some unique purpose, that we're all meant to do something great. And that narrative that every single person is supposed to matter in some big, significant way, it creates so much pressure, so much weight, so much heaviness. What if you're just a person? What if you don't have a grand purpose? What if you're just here living, breathing, experiencing, connecting, and then one day you won't be here anymore, and that's okay? What if the relief you're searching for is on the other side of accepting that you don't need to be special to have a life worth living? You're the universe experiencing itself subjectively for a little while. You're a pattern of atoms that became conscious enough to ask why. You're utterly insignificant in scale, one human among 8 billion, on one planet among trillions, and you're absolutely miraculous in specificity. No one else has your exact constellation of consciousness, your particular way of seeing, your specific loves and fears and memories. You're simultaneously nothing and everything. And this paradox, if you let it, is hilarious. It's liberating. It's the cosmic joke at the heart of existence. The people who understand this best are the ones who laugh the most. Not because they don't care, but because they've stopped trying to control the uncontrollable. They've stopped treating their temporary existence like it needs to be justified. They show up. They love hard. They try things. They fail regularly. They apologize when they hurt people. They celebrate when good things happen without making those things proof of their worth. They inhabit their lives instead of curating them. Here's what I want you to do right now, and I mean actually right now. Think about one decision you're facing. Could be small, could be big. And ask yourself two questions. First, what would be wise? And second, what would be fun? We're so trained to only ask the first question. We optimize for wisdom, for safety, for the smart choice, for what makes sense. But wisdom without joy is just sophisticated suffering. Sometimes the fun choice is the wise choice. Sometimes factoring in your own delight, your own aliveness, your own sense of play, that's not irresponsible. That's honoring the fact that you're here briefly and you're allowed to enjoy it. And then every single day, I want you to remind yourself of this one sentence. I am taking a temporary form too seriously. Your body is temporary. It's going to age, break down, and return to dust. Your personality is temporary. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago, and you won't be the same person 10 years from now. Your problems are temporary. The thing keeping you up tonight will be irrelevant in 5 years. Your triumphs are temporary. The promotion you're stressing over, the achievement you're chasing, the validation you're seeking, even if you get it, it won't last. Everything is temporary, and that's not depressing. That's the whole reason any of it is precious. There's a reason children are so alive, and it's not because they don't have problems. Kids have problems. They have conflicts and disappointments and fears, but they haven't yet learned to take themselves seriously. They cry without shame. They laugh without restraint. They fail constantly, like multiple times an hour, and they get up immediately. They don't perform childhood. They don't wonder if they're doing childhood correctly. They just inhabit it. And then we teach them to be serious, to be appropriate, to care what people think, to manage their image, to be embarrassed by joy, to be ashamed of failure. And we call this growing up. But maybe growing up should mean returning to that aliveness while also developing the wisdom to navigate complexity. Maybe maturity isn't heaviness. Maybe maturity is lightness that's been earned through experience. Maybe being an adult means you can hold the reality that life contains suffering and loss and difficulty and still choose to dance, still choose to play, still choose to show up with your full weird humanity instead of the polished, acceptable version you think people want to see. You spent so long trying to be someone important that you forgot to be someone alive. You've been so focused on getting it right that you forgot there is no right. There's no manual. There's no cosmic grading system. There's no one keeping score except you. And you're a terrible scorekeeper because you only count the losses and never the wins. You've been carrying a weight that was never yours to carry in the first place. So right now, I'm giving you permission to put down. Not recklessly, not carelessly, but joyfully. You can care about things without making them evidence of your worth. You can try hard without being terrified. You can fail without it meaning anything about your value as a human being. You can succeed without it validating your right to exist. You can just be here, breathing, feeling, seeing, experiencing this weird, temporary, unrepeatable thing called your life. You arrived here today carrying the weight of constant performance, believing that if you weren't serious, you weren't responsible, that if you weren't worried, you weren't realistic, that if you let yourself relax into the absurdity and beauty of being alive, you'd somehow lose yourself or everything you've built. But now you see it differently, don't you? The seriousness was never wisdom. It was fear of your own insignificance. And the insignificance you were afraid of, that's actually your freedom. You don't need to matter cosmically to live fully. You don't need to be permanently important to be presently alive. You don't need to get it all right to show up authentically. You are a temporary pattern of consciousness, briefly experiencing what it's like to be human on a planet that's spinning through an infinite void in a universe that will forget your name the moment you're gone. And none of that makes your life less meaningful. It makes it infinitely precious because it's not permanent, because it's not graded, because no one's keeping score. You get to be here, right now, feeling what you're feeling, seeing what you're seeing, loving who you're loving. That's it. That's the whole thing. And it's enough. You're enough. Not because you've achieved enough or performed adequacy or proven your worth, but because you're here. And being here, conscious and alive and capable of wonder, that's the entire miracle. Stop taking yourself so seriously. Start taking your aliveness seriously. There's a difference, and it will change everything. If this perspective shifted something in you, if you felt even a small part of that weight lift, if you remembered for just a moment that you're allowed to dance through this life instead of trudging through it, I'd love to know. Leave a comment sharing one area where you've been taking yourself too seriously and what it might feel like to hold it more lightly. If this video helped you see yourself and your life through a kinder, freer lens, a like helps others who are carrying the same heaviness find this message. And if you want more philosophy that doesn't demand perfection but invites aliveness, subscribe. Not for me, for you, for the temporary, miraculous, beautifully insignificant human you are, who deserves to enjoy this brief, strange gift of consciousness. You are not here to matter forever. You're here to be alive right now, and that's more than enough.